We open in Severe, not in the Gothic halls and cathedrals that adorn the city of Oyer, not in the enormous castle that Queen Banrian calls home, but a ways out, further west towards the coast, in a small town called Mertondale. Mertondale has been a place of relaxation, of farming, of life. Families grow up here, families spend their entire lives here. Indeed, this is where we find the Shank family, and one individual in particular, Kaelin. As we zoom in to the west of Severe, not too far from the coast, military caravans come bustling in, carriages with soldiers dressed in dress uniforms, as the clopping of the horses... Thank you. As the clopping of horses kind of builds... the townsfolk... Tried to start serious. What's going on? As the townfolk kind of move away from the square, a small kiosk is set up, and lines of young citizens begin to line up to sign papers and to join. A tall, slender individual, a little gaunt, a little tired and pale, sets up an apple box and stands on top with a primitive megaphone and calls.
Does this work? Is it? I don't think you... Shut up. I don't think you meant to tap. It's not a microphone, it's a megaphone. Don't tap on it.
Citizens of Severe!
That's the feedback.
Do I stand further back? Citizens of Severe!
Don't point it at the microphone. Okay.
Citizens of Severe.
You're doing great.
Your country needs you. Our gracious queen has had the foresight of the potential of our dwindling resources and shall dwindle further if no action is taken. She has called upon her people, you, the citizens of Severe, to aid in our expansion to the primitive Isle of Bocht. The untamed savage lands are the keys to our continued prosperity. In the name of Her Majesty Queen Banrian, she calls on you, her loyal subjects, to answer the call, to march on Bocht and bring glory to Severe. Citizens of Severe, your country needs you.
The calling continues over and over, only interrupted by the small notes that are given to the caller by the man standing next to him.
Shut up.
Well, I think you should just go a little bit slower. They'll get the point.
The citizens of Severe to aid.
Okay, you're starting to sound a bit ridiculous now.
I think we're losing them.
As we cut away from there, we swing around to see two young men, one of them of the Shank household, Kaelin.
Kaelin is ratherly unimpressive. An average, slender build, very young in his facial features, clean-shaven, a shaggy mop top of hair, dark brown eyes, and just wearing some shaggy...
He's wearing shaggy, like,
village
drip.
clothes, yeah. A big bling bling on him. Big clock.
It's the whitest you've ever sounded.
A bling bling.
A bling bling.
And
Hello?
is that the caller?
Yeah.
And he's just wearing some village clothes, some farming clothes, and he's a little bit dirty from his day's work that was interrupted by this bustle and hustle of the gathering of the town. And he's got an eager look in his eyes of wonder of what's going on. Like what's nothing happens in this part of town and in this part of Severe, and there's excitement in him, but a little bit of nerves of seeing all these soldiers in armor and grandeur.
Excellent. And standing, walking along beside him, a slightly smaller individual. If you were to picture Jojo and his friend from Jojo Rabbit grown up, this individual is a little more portly, has kind of square-framed glasses in them that have been kind of repaired over and over, as we see young Davy Slink. Davy Slink, they have a similar sort of outfit on, maybe even more bedraggled? One of the two. Bedazzled. He has a bedazzled jacket on.
These guys are fabulous.
Oh, shit. This whole thing's changed now. This is turning into like Josie and the Pussycat Dolls or something like that. As they make their way forward, Davy would turn to Kaelin.
Have you ever considered joining the military?
Not really, but I don't know. Now that they're right here in front of us,
The call to adventure, heading out over the seas. I mean, I've always wanted to go visit Neodract, but if they're taking people and bringing them overseas, why not? Maybe we should join. I'm sick of Mertondale. I'm sick of the same day-to-day grind. I'm sick of milking cows and baling hay and other farming things, the other farm things, the other 3 farm things, such as
the crop gathering and the berry picking.
Yeah, and the third one.
The third one is the cock-a-doodle-doo of...
when we have to get up in the morning and wake up the rooster by doing a cock-a-doodle-doo. And
cock-a-doodle-doo the rooster. And I hate it. I'm sick of it.
Me too. Hashtag me too.
What's the difference?
What?
I don't know. No, but... well, if they're taking volunteers, I think we're capable.
We're strong-bodied, 17 to 19-year-old lads?
Yeah, we're young, we're impressionable, we're easy to manipulate.
Yeah, wait, are you making a statement of some sort?
No, I just think we should...
you too?
I just think we should sign up without thinking about it.
What'll our families think?
Well, I'm sure they'd be proud, no? Doesn't every parent want their kid to go on and do something great with their lives?
I guess.
Maybe this is it for us. Maybe this is our thing. This is the thing we look back on when we're old, and we can look back and be proud of being part of something bigger than just cock-a-doodle-dooing and berry picking.
You know what? That was really...
What's that, Davey?
Yeah, you double-checking that's my name?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you know what? That sounds like a great idea. I'm following you. I've always followed you, and I'll follow you till we're old people reminiscing about the adventures we had.
Oh, I hope this isn't foreshadowing.
Okay, I'm gonna go sign up now.
Wait for me!
As they head towards the town crier, they move past the individual.
Maybe if I had a go, I could do it slightly better.
Oh my God, no!
Hear ye! You didn't even start with hear ye, hear ye. It's
Are you
classic.
supposed to start with hear ye, hear ye?
Hang on, let me.
That's so taboo.
Not hear ye, hear ye.
Hear ye?
Hear
Oh,
ye.
I thought it was hear ye. Like you gotta
Hear
hear
ye.
it. Who's hear ye?
Hear all of you. Listen, all of you.
Oh, I must have missed that in my announcing class.
As they walk past the announcers, they make their way towards the desk there. You can see that there are a number of older Mertondale citizens that are signing up. Some of the older boys are signing up. They kind of slap each other on the back. If you've seen the beginning of... And I did watch it because you told me to.
All Quiet on the Western
All
Front.
Quiet on the Western Front. Holy shit. But a la the beginning of that, they're very excited. And as they make their way away from the desk there, you would see what appears to be a very jowly individual with very, very tiny glasses on the end of his fat nose. He's sitting there. You can see that all the soldiers are in classic... Banrian, Queen Banrian, Queen's Guard uniform, Severian army uniform. It has more of a Roman legionnaires kind of look to it than what you guys are used to 100 years in the future. And as you approach the table with Davy, the individual at the table looks up at you.
All right, boys. You're excited for a bit of adventure, yeah?
Yeah?
We've been waiting for something like this for a while.
Young men such as yourselves need this sort of thing to become real men, to become the man you're going to be. This is a very honorable thing that you're doing. Those Bochtians, the adventure itself is not so dangerous, but those Bochtian savages, they don't speak a lick of our language, don't speak a lick of common, and they are filthy, disgusting, and absolutely abhorrent monsters that we could sure use your help in keeping them at bay as we find the resources we need to keep Severe Sexy. No. Make Severe great. No. We're still working on the slogan. If you boys have a slogan,
Improve Severe? No. It's already great. What am I saying?
Kind of cocks an eyebrow.
He says that's the right attitude. Now, do you have any family or anything that need to know that you'll be leaving? We do have an obligation to let them know that you've been set on your ways. So be sure to, if you're under 18, get their permission. But if you're not,
And he kind of gives you a knowing look and says, if you're over 18, you're able to sign up.
Right.
And you need no one's permission. You'll be given a sword, a bow, some training, set on an enormous ship with cannons and ballistas, and sent to the far lands of Bocht. If that sounds like it's your cup of tea.
Kalen's kind of eyes will be like widened at the sound of all this war stuff and things that he's never come across in his life or never thought he would come across. And he kind of looks over to Davy and gives him a nod and kind of steps forward to the table and picks up a pen. And where do I sign?
Where it says signature, and there's a line there, and if you put your birth date next to it. Your friend there looks a little apprehensive.
Davy, you okay?
Yeah, I don't know if my family's going to be happy with this.
Well, it's your life, Davy, to live. You've got to take charge of it.
Got to carpe the DM?
Yeah. You got to manifest destiny.
What?
You got to take what's yours.
Okay.
And he picks up a pen and starts to scribble on the next page across.
No, he'll next to Kalen in his birthday, he'll write his actual birthday and then cross it out. scribble, and then
The recruiting officer just kind of takes that bit of paper, scrunches it up, and then slides another one forward and says, "Try again."
Right. Nervous. Sorry.
That's absolutely fine.
No. Right. Correct birthday for his age.
Excellent. As the recruiting officer takes the papers, we are going to cut across to the Schenk household the next morning as as Kalen Schenk is saying goodbye to his family. No sign of Davy at the door. You expected Davy to kind of knock and meet you there, but no sign of him. Your mother hasn't spoken to you since you announced the news yesterday. And as you get up, your father's sitting at the table. He doesn't have his usual Mertondale Times in front of him. He doesn't have his usual coffee. He's just there, arms folded. Son?
Yes, Dad.
Take a seat.
All right. And he'll sort of drop the bag that he's been packing and kind of mosey on over to where dear old Dad is sitting.
Your dad is a spitting image of you, older. The kind of man that you enjoy spending time with, the kind of father that you enjoy his presence, with a look that you hope to one day achieve, that salt and pepper kind of beard, that grayed at the sides, hair streaked back, a good-looking cat. And as you sit down, can you roll a perception check for me?
Yes, I can.
And for those listening at home, Kalen Schenk does not know his stats. Only I know them.
Neither does Michael.
Yeah.
That's a 14.
Perception, 14, for a total of 19.
Hey, all right, Kalen.
As you drop your bag, you become aware of someone in the doorway off to the left. You would recognize your mother's shadow. And your father is kind of seated so that you can be seen from that shadowy doorway. Your father says to you, "Your mother and I have spoken it over. You are doing what you wish to do, correct? This is not under the influence of anyone else."
No, this is what I want, and maybe I didn't know that it was what I wanted until, well, it's kind of right in front of me, but I just want to see something else. I don't want to die at the end of my days and not have experienced what this world has to offer, and I want to make you guys proud.
With a passive insight of 15, when you say I don't want to die at the end of my days, having not kind of seen anything, your father looks a little hurt, like you've had a dig at him. And he says, well, there's nothing wrong with spending your life in the one place, loving the one woman, of bringing up a family. But if that's not your path, stops for a second. I support you. And you hear a little from the darkened hallway.
Can kind of look over his shoulder and look back to his dad. I really wish that she would approve too.
He leans forward, kind of touches your hand and says, your mother supports anything you do. You may be breaking our hearts, but it would break our hearts even more if we were to learn that you were resentful of us for not letting you go.
All right.
Well, have fun. Be safe. And you don't have to be violent. Violence is a choice.
Right. And Kalen will kind of like sit and go and just kind of think to himself about not really having thought about violence yet, about just kind of having heard what he's heard from like the recruitment and just kind of like the call to adventure, and just hasn't thought that far ahead in the potential of having to enact violence or defend himself from violence. And a kind of moment of doubt flashes over him, but then he kind of shakes it off and turns to his dad and says, I'll have so many stories to tell.
I bet you will. And we'll be here to listen to them.
Thank you. And I'll look to his mom, and then he'll give her a nod, and then I'll just kind of stand up and say, I'll miss you both very much.
You stand and you walk to the doorway, open the door, and make your way out into the path.
The fuck is Davy? Jeez.
You make your way out down the path past your house. As you look back, your father and mother are standing in the doorway. As you look back, your mother kind of averts her gaze. We cut to you making your way to the caravans, the carriages. And as you do...
Sorry.
It's about time.
I was going to meet you at your place, but my parents are really fucking mad. We should get going. Yeah, they're not happy at all.
Well, they can't do anything about it now.
No, exactly. Let's jump on. Let's go. We got to go.
All right, let's go.
Get on the back of the carriage, and we follow along on a montage of you guys traveling the roads back in towards the city of Oyer. As you head in towards the city of Oyer, come on and fuck me, Amadeus. As you make your way in, you would pass the sites. The various military individuals there would be pointing out the different cities, the different towns of Severe. Before you reach Severe, you do see in the distance this, what look to be 12 enormous towers in the distance. The city of, well, the place of 12 Point. And you see a couple of individuals, older individuals, be like, fucking arcane users. Steer clear of that place, kids.
Do you think Kalen would ever have gone to Oyer?
Kalen can make a history check for me. And you are going to add +2 to this roll.
15. 13 plus 2.
You would have gone to Oyer as you would have definitely gone to Oyer. Would you like to explain to me when you may have gone to Oyer, who with, and what that may have...
he probably would have gone to Oyer on probably a quick day in and like day out, maybe aiding his dad with supplies, like trading some of the farming stuff to make a little bit of spare change. His dad probably wouldn't really have talked much about Oyer. He would have, he probably wouldn't know much about the city itself or the intricacies of it. And he would know that 12 Point has some magical significance to it, but maybe was always a little bit curious about it, but didn't think too much about it. Having his world very much set in Mertondale.
Excellent.
And so he has this gleaming excitement about him to kind of be back in this big city as it only leads to more new things and new experiences.
Indeed, yeah. Oyer is quite the spectacle for those that have never been. As you make your way there, as you make your way to the training center, what we move through now is a very quick montage of you arriving, unpacking the wide-eyedness of you and your friend Davey here cut short when your hair is immediately shorn. That mop is immediately shorn down to a buzz.
Is it electric? No, it's probably scissors.
No, it's just scissors. What the fuck?
Scissors.
Using a guillotine?
Big snip, right?
No, they're just like snip, snip. Wait. I think I have scissors. No, there's no
It's
scissors.
right there.
Yeah, hang on. Foley. Here we go.
Yeah, that's much better than my shing.
Very different from the shing.
I was thinking big old big old scissors.
Big old shears. The shaving of your head, the barking of the drill sergeant demanding push-ups from you, sit-ups from
All
you.
right, you maggots, get over here. Pronto. Faces on the floor.
Drop to your face. As that happens, you would hear in the weeks to come the firing of arrows as you're doing push-ups, having to drop down. You would be crawling through bogs, crawling over sharp thorned wires. Someone casts a very mysterious figure. Looks to be older. You can see they've got a wrap around their head, covering the most of their head above their eyebrows, and you can see that they look very old, very gaunt, but still have like a youthful fire to their eyes. As they raise a hand with a thick robe that is still in Severian colors, a thick robe, as they raise their hand, entangle is cast on the field there, and you guys have to wrestle your way out of this. If you want to make a real quick strength saving throw for me. 17.
Yo, Kalen's rolling hot, baby.
For a dirty 20, as Kalen has kind of bulked up ever so slightly during this.
He's made for this.
He's made for this. You would watch as Davy Slink Slink also gets his way out of this. You guys working together. It culminates in a point where you two, 2 or 3 weeks into training, having been fed, run to the ground, endurance sprints, all these sorts of things, loaded up with gear, strapped with a bow and arrow. But the last 2 activities are indeed target practice and fighting with a wooden sword against each other. Davy is placed on the field with an apple on his head. And Kalen is given a longbow. Davy looks up and says,
I trust you, buddy.
Yeah, I got this. We made it this far. Don't worry, just close your eyes, and next thing you know, the apple will be pinned to the wall behind the tree behind you.
The rest of the recruits watching, I would like you to roll an attack roll, please. And you are going to add +8 to this roll.
Maybe this is where the rolls stop being hot. 13.
With a 13, you draw back. As the arrow fires, you know it's going to miss, and you hear a sickening as it hits Davy where the shoulder meets the pectoral. Shit. The apple wobbles. The drill sergeant demands him to stand still.
Stay still, you little maggot.
As Davy
Stop squirming.
Davy straightens back up. You have a second attack action.
Take another attack. 21.
The arrow splits the apple on the head. Davy looks up. The drill sergeant announces that it's time to swap over partners. And you make your way in to place an apple on your head, Davy with an arrow hanging out of his shoulder.
As Kalen passes Davy, he'll hand the bow over to him. Sorry, buddy. Got a little nervous there.
Davy snatches it from you walks past, says nothing.
Kind of look back over his shoulder, kind of shrug it off,
Yeah.
pick up an apple from the
Barrel
of apples.
Yeah, you have to bob for it. As Davy turns on his heel, he kind of reaches up to the arrow, and the drill sergeant admonishes him, telling him to keep it in.
You keep that in there and you fire.
But, it hurts.
Yeah. War hurts. When you're out in the field of battle, you're going to get cut, scraped, and bruised. You got to act as normal, as efficiently as possible.
Davy draws back on the bow. That is a 16 to hit. It hits just above your ear. If you had elven ears, it would have taken the tip off. Lands on the side there. Davy fires again. Same 16.
The other ear?
Hits the other ear. 2 arrows either side of your ear, and Davy kind of curses, throws the bow to the ground there.
Lucky I'm not a filthy elf. What? Who said that?
Yeah. The rest of the crowd kind of agrees and says, fuck elves!
He kind of has like a self nod to that. He's like, he feels that sort of
Nice.
kinship a little bit.
Yeah. As that happens, the drill instructor announces the hand-to-hand combat with dull wooden swords that are still sharp, made from some sort of steel like wood. And he kind of describes that they are taken from Bocht, an example of some of the stuff you'd find there.
All right, everyone, pick up a sword. Get with your partners and give each other a good go.
Davy looks at Kalen. He's kind of got his left arm up and a bit of a shield kind of motion, and he's fighting one-handed with the short sword there.
Kalen will pick up a sword as well. And he won't have a shield, but he'll just have a sword in one hand and his right hand. And he kind of is like bobbing it up and down, kind of feeling the weight of it.
Mm-hmm. Would you have chosen a long sword or a short sword?
Would have been a long sword.
Okay, nice. I would like you to roll initiative against Davy, who got a 5.
16.
17, 18, 19 for you.
Nice.
At the very top of the round, you see Davy kind of holding his shield in front of his wounded arm. You can already tell it's too heavy for him, especially in that shield, that arm that's been pinned by the arrow. And as he's holding out his short sword, he's just kind of watching you, eyes dull in a way that you haven't seen them before. What would you like to do?
All right. Kalen's gonna approach Davy, and he's going to take a swing at his sword that's out front, and then try and kind of bring it around and sort of knock him off balance with that, and then hit his shoulder that is carrying the shield and that is already kind of sore.
Absolutely. Go ahead and give me your first attack roll there.
Ooh, only a 3.
As you swipe out for a 9 to hit. As you swipe out, Davy kind of bats it away and readjusts as you come in for the second swipe. 9 plus 6 for 15. That will hit. Ooh. As it goes through. You manage to he throws up his shield and you go under it and just rake under his arm. You batter him under the arm with a wooden blade. And the shield drops to the ground. He growls and he's going to just take 2 wild swipes at you.
Davy.
That is going to be 14. 8 plus 6 is 14, yeah. Your AC is 14.
Oh.
So with 2 hits, he is going to swipe out at you. As he hits you twice, we're not really doing damage. It's just like points. Hits. So as he hits you twice, bang, bang, hits you twice, and he seems to have gotten a thirst for it. And you watch, before you can even think, he swipes out again twice as he action surges.
Oh!
One of those is a 13, which is going to miss, but the 17 plus 6, the 23, is definitely going to hit. And you watch as, rather than whacking you with it, he lunges in, and he actually does 4 points of piercing damage. As he actually pierces you a little bit of blood starts to come from just below your belly button. Just... And that is his turn. What would you like to do?
As the sword kind of pierced through, he's gonna grab onto the sword and kind of basically try and smack him over the head, at the top of the head, with his wooden sword.
And bonk him? Yeah, go for it. Yeah, give me a bonk. Plus 6 to hit.
14
will hit him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna smack him right in the back of the head, top of the head.
You know when you get hit in the head and you get really like hot flush angry? That's what he's looking like right now.
And then he's gonna kind of pull the sword out from like the side. And I get another attack, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna kind of try and sweep his legs.
Yeah, go for it.
10 plus 6.
6. Can you go ahead and make a real quick athletics check as well on top of that as you hit him? And he's going to roll same. Okay, nat 20 versus an 8. As you try to sweep him, I don't know why I pulled that in. As you try to sweep him down, he kind of dances over your blade there. And seeing him pump up with that action surge, you realize, I could do the same. Would you like to use your action surge?
I'm an action surge.
Action surge, excellent. What would you like to do?
I'm going to, as he kind of dodges the sweep attack, he's gonna bring it around to his, like, over his shoulder, and he's gonna just kind of use all his body weight to try and knock him on his ass.
Excellent. Give me an athletics check. You are going to add nothing to this roll.
God damn.
6 versus a 2. Okay. You shove him and you hip and shoulder him and hit him in the chest, and poof, he hits the ground. Swords go clattering. You're barefisted now. You've still got your blade. He's barefisted, sorry. You've got one more attack action with an action surge. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I'm going to sort of full mount him, grab Davey by the collar, and just kind of holding the blade with his fist around the handle. Instead of bringing the sword down, he's just going to punch him with his fist.
Go ahead and give me an attack roll with advantage.
Advantage?
Yeah, pick whatever dice you want.
12.
An 18 will hit, yeah.
Just kind of bang! Straight into the nose.
Pop him in the nose there. And you get a flashback image of him on the ground, having been knocked by a cattle of some sort, and that those glasses split and that nose bleeding. As you punch him, bam, you see that image of him younger, and then you flash back to this image of him below you, nose bleeding, no longer with glasses on. You can see that he looks older, he looks more tired, and he looks pissed. And as you punch him in the face, swack, the drill instructor calls an end to it.
That's enough. On your feet. Well done, Kalen.
Davey gets to his feet, breathing. You can hear the whistle from his nose, which is broken.
All right, Kalen will just sort of look over at Davey, kind of extend a hand out and be like, "It's nothing personal, Davey, but it's what's necessary."
Davey slaps your hand away in front of everyone and says, "It is personal. We're supposed to look out for each other. We're supposed to be friends. If this is what this is," looks around at everyone else, "fighting amongst friends, bullying, this macho bullshit, I'm out. I don't give a fuck about Severe. I don't give a fuck about you."
Davey.
"No. I hope you go. I hope you find glory. I hope you kill dozens of them and come back. I hope you come back." And he storms out, throws the blade down.
Davey!
Trudges off. The drill instructor nods to himself as if that's exactly what the plan was. You know, that thing where teachers or tutors would stumble across some development and claim it as their own. And kind of nods and claps a hand on Kalen's shoulder.
Kalen will kind of look down at his fist that's kind of like bloodied a bit and bruised. My punch kind of really hurt. It's kind of probably the first time he's actually punched someone.
As you look down at the fist, we wipe to the fist a week later, healed over. Still the bruising, still a little bit of the scarring from the battle as you grip the side of the rail of the ship you're on. As you stand there aboard the Cold Dragon, the sea spray washing over
Good
you.
name.
Good name, guys. The sea spray washing over you. You can smell the burning black powder of the cannons that were test fired earlier. If you look back over the stern of the ship, you can see. Thank you for all the sound effects. You can see Safirith in the distance disappearing. The bow of the ship crashing against the enormous waves. You can see Bocht far off in the distance as you make your way over the long journey over there. As you're standing there, the sails filled with air. The dozens of men and women are running around sorting this place out. Make another perception check for me.
What am I adding to that again? +3?
You are adding +5.
23 with an 18.
23. Excellent. As you're looking out, you would notice a couple things. As you head down from the port that you left in Safirith, you would notice off the port bow the enormous volcano down south. Little Yiju. Yep.
Little Yiju.
Yiju. Yiju.
That's the volcano.
That's the volcano, Little Yiju. Near Little Yiju, you can see what appear to be large, kind of chunky ships, fatter than yours, your classic kind of man of war or sailing ship that you're on now. Larger, fatter ships, almost ferries, that seem to have dozens of sails sprawled out rather messily, and they seem to be making their way from around Fiona, around the outside of Tortui, the large, tall shadowlands that you know nothing about, heading towards Bocht as well. As you look down that way, you would also notice, not too far from them, long, sleek, sharp-looking ships with almost Spelljammer-esque sails. Consider perhaps the Klingon ships, that sort of look. And you would see the flash of cannons in the distant as they fire upon the Fionians. There seems to be a race to get to Bocht. As this happens, you become aware of a tall, slender figure, head in a dark black wrap above their eyebrows. Almost looks like a skull cap. This older, gaunt-looking individual, the same one that cast Entangle on the battlefield, as Lieutenant Richter looks out over the fighting ships and says, "Oh yes, it begins."
Is everyone going to Bocht, Lieutenant?
Now that they know that we are going to Bocht, everyone will be making their way there.
Thought it was
the other countries, the other cities. They're not. They are jealous types. They want Bocht for themselves. We need Bocht to survive. There is a difference.
Well, how do we know that they don't need it as much as we do?
He kind of leans forward and he says, "Those are the sorts of questions that you do not want to be asking."
Apologies, Lieutenant.
Apology accepted. The captain wishes to speak to all young recruits. If you'll kindly head down to the mess deck.
Right. Yes, sir.
And remember, do not ask questions like that.
Yes, sir. Won't happen again. And he kind of gives not a salute, but stands to attention with his arms to his side.
The mysterious Lieutenant Richter just kind of gestures a dismissed kind of sign. You turn on your heel and scurry across the deck.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life. I realize there's nothing left. Go get some musical references in this one. I want to look around and see it.
Look around.
Now you've broken the seal.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Do I see any, like, all the other soldiers, or recruits? Are there a lot of them that seem to have, been in my initial, like, training groups, or like how much of them are more veterans versus like recruits from villages like Mertondale? Like how many of them?
Make an
are more
insight check
green?
for me. And you're going to add 5 to this.
Dirty 20. with
Dirty
a 15.
20. Nice. You.
Jeez, I'm rolling was so
Yeah,
much better.
I love that dice. As you look around, you would see that most here are a smattering of both. You're probably one of the youngest, newest recruits here. They seem to have shared them out across the ships, across the armada that you're currently a part of. You can see dozens of ships around you, much closer, Severian vessels. You gather in the time that you've been on board in the last 3 or 4 days that you are probably the youngest and newest here. And as you make your way down to the mess hall deck, stepping down the wooden steps, you bump into a burly individual. As they bump into you, you run into the medic, Specialist Zank. Specialist Zank is a larger man, a little bit of a belly, but you can tell it hides enormous muscles. If you consider perhaps the build of the Warhammer 40k, sort of that sort of build.
Space Marine.
Yeah, he's got a bit of a Space Marine build to him. As you bump into him, he looks up at you with scorn on his face and something else.
Watch it, kid. Sorry, Specialist Zank, right? So you know me. I'm not even going to give you the time of the day to know your name, boy. Sorry, I was just on my way to see the lieutenant, the captain. Sorry. What's the matter? Nerves getting the better of you? Well, this is my first time on the water, and this all seems a little bigger than I thought. Well, it's even bigger than what you think it is now.
You hear footsteps, and you look down and you see a very tall individual with a tricord hat on. They have a bit of a scar down their cheek, and they have a decent amount of stubble. They're wearing proper Severian Legion uniform. As Captain Falnor says, "You're not scaring the new recruits, are you, Specialist Zank?"
No, sir. Giving him a little inspiration. And he kind of looks down to Kalen and gets real close to his face and says, "If you're wounded out there, try and call for me just once. All right? Gets annoyed. You call, medic, medic, my arm's blown off, my legs are separated. Screaming won't help you, kid. Only I can. So don't annoy me." I'll kind of shove through his shoulder and walk off.
The captain looks at you from down in the mess hall and says, "I've been meaning to explain to him that your legs are naturally separated, but he likes that little speech that he does. He gives you a wink."
I'm just gonna swallow. You wanted to see me, Captain?
"Yeah, come on down." And it gestures for you to head down to the mess hall, the large wooden table, the cook in the kitchen, in the galley there, cooking away. And the captain, quite uncharacteristically of most captains, just sits on the large kind of bench seat. You watch as a number of the other a bunch of the other sailors come down, see him sitting there, and immediately kind of turn around and head to their bunks. He kind of pats the bench next to him.
And I'll go take a seat, nervously, being in the presence of high-ranking officials.
Excellent. The captain looks at you. He says, "How are you feeling there?"
A little nervous, sir, but still convinced that this is good. This is what I want, and I think the nerves are just part of it, right?
Nerves are natural. Nerves mean that you care. And you should care. This is your life we're talking about here. Not just the future of Severe. You've got your own future to think about.
Right, well, my future won't count for anything if Severe falls, right? So this is...
He looks at you and he seems to have a look on his face like he's heard this before. And he says, ignore the rumble of the ship there, you can probably hear. We're getting ready for the cannons to be rolled out and fired. You are so young, slightly naive. It's not a bad thing. What we're doing here is not in aid of Safirith, it's in aid of Queen Banrian. Mm-hmm. You probably thought you were going to travel the world and see beautiful things, right?
Well, that's the hope, and I mean, I'm away from Safirith and out to see Bocht. Never seen Bocht before.
Yeah. Well, I doubt you'll see too much of Bocht. It's going to be dangerous. It's going to be terrifying. You're nervous now, you're going to be scared when you get there. That's fine. Stick with me. Stay behind the line. Let the others push up first. And don't leave my side. We'll get you home safe. Back to your parents. Back to a newly revived Safirith, if that's truly what you're doing this for.
Yes, sir.
He nods. He says, what's one thing you wish you always did back home?
Like, in Safirith? For Safirith?
In Safirith, for yourself.
I like to bake.
You like to bake? Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Pastries and,
we got a little bit of time before we get to where we're going. Why don't you pop in the galley there and give Dench a hand?
Really?
Yeah.
Just doesn't seem very, soldiery.
I won't tell
Bake.
anyone if you don't.
Can I insight check?
Absolutely. Roll an insight check for me. Add 5 to this.
15 with a 10.
The captain seems chill, at ease, and seems quite honest with you that he won't tell anyone.
Well, if that's an order, sir, then you got it.
It's not an order. Your only order is to stay as safe as possible. We don't gain anything by slaughtering our young in battle. We need people like you back home. So let's get you there.
Yes, sir. And with that, he kind of thinks of, if they, the words of, we need people like you back home, thinking, why am I even here then, if he's telling me I'm needed back home? And, yeah, just, there's a little bit of thinking about, was this the right decision or not? And should I open the bakery?
Excellent. As you head into the galley, the captain gets up, cracks his kind of back, and walks back up the steps, and you hear the cannons being test fired.
He'll kind of jump with
each jump. As you step into the galley there, you would meet the large turtle, Dench. Some of you listening at home may recognize Dench. He says,
So, what would you like to bake with me?
My specialty is croissants.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how equipped you are to make it, but I can see
the
what we
Queen's army is very well equipped.
and you begin to prepare
the flour.
the flour and the butter. I'll get you to make a survival check. You got +5 to this as well, man. This is great.
What, 9? 11.
11, yeah. As you start to prepare this, the butter is
Buttery flaky crust.
flurry bacon crust. The butter isn't quite. I believe the butter's got to be really, really chilled to do.
I don't know how to make croissants.
Well, there you go.
Kaylin
Can you explain to me how Kaylin tries to make croissants?
You'd probably put some flour in a bowl with some yeast, I guess, for bread. To make it rise, right? And then crack some eggs in there and whisk it till it's like a a doughy kind of thing.
Keep going.
And then he'll he'll make the dough in like little, like he'll roll them up in like little balls and kind of like wrap more dough around them to make it resemble what a croissant would look like. And
You're
kind of
making
shape
a
it.
lump of dough in the shape of a croissant.
It'll put some sugar in it to make it sweet.
Jesus Christ.
And then, he'll kind of repeat that process and put it on a pan and be like,
Yeah.
it's been a while since I've made,
Been a while.
but maybe this will work.
Aren't you supposed to layer them bit by bit and fold in the butter?
Next time, I guess.
Okay.
You pop them in the stove that has a pipe that kind of pumps out through the side there, and you end up with lumps of dough in the shape of like croissants that have swollen and flattened out.
I'll try it. I'll taste one.
It doesn't taste, it's weird. There are chunks of it that are sugary and there are chunks of it that are just straight bready. It's not bad. Certainly not a croissant.
I should have, I said I like to bake.
Yeah.
Didn't say I was necessarily the best at it.
you like to make bake.
As we cut away from you, the steaming of the hot bread, we cut to the steaming mists of Bocht rising from the island there as the ships get closer and closer. You're now in full armored gear. You've got your longbow, your shortbow, leather armor on that doesn't protect too much, but a solid kind of helmet as you stand towards the bow of the ship. As you stand towards the bow of the ship, the water rocking as you head in towards the beach of Kuan, you watch as a number of other ships have kind of already beached there, and people are running onto and into the forests of Bocht there. You can hear shouting. You can see off to the port bow there, the port stern, you would see the Fionian and Neodrac ships ever so closer, and you would watch as the Neodrac ship fires a bunch of cannons and levels the Fionian ship. As it starts to sink, you watch animals diving off the side. You see Dench there, the turtle, just kind of shaking his head and walking back down below deck. You're standing there, you've got the captain in front of you, you've got the medic just over your left shoulder there. The captain looks back at you and says, "Are you ready?"
I think ready as he'll ever be. And I'll kind of take another bite of his croissant, pocket the rest of it.
Does a double take, he like looks and goes, not even gonna ask.
Energy. For to fight, you know?
Carbs. Got it. As you feel the ship kind of lurch as it beaches, the gangplanks are dropped, and there is screaming and yelling, "Go, go, go, go!" as people start running out. The captain looks at you over his shoulder, Aragorn style, and says, "Let's go." For Frodo. And runs down the gangplank and runs into Kuan. What do you do?
I sort of just tighten the bow around his back, draws his sword, and kind of will...
You get bumped on the back shoulder by a burly individual who's impatient.
Watch it, kid, and remember, no screaming.
As he runs past you.
And he'll kind of... Kalen will kind of adjust his helmet, tighten everything, and then kind of leap over the side and follow suit.
You land in the sand and start to run up into the town of Kuan there. As you run in, it is indeed quite primitive. There are huts and things there. You can see there are thatched roofs. And the first thing you see is a bunch of Severian soldiers running forward and immediately pinning down two Vidalcan and just slicing them. Their blue bodies kind of cut open. They jump up and continue to run. There are a couple of javelins that are thrown that miss, fly past you, and you watch as another two soldiers pull their bows and arrows and fire into one guy's chest. Looks to be a furbolg who drops to the ground. As you're running forward, make a real quick perception check for me.
I'm going to say it's going to be a disadvantage because
Absolutely.
Kalen is
Freaking out.
Yeah, having just seen people in his immediate vicinity get slaughtered, cut, shot with arrows.
Absolutely.
This is the first exposure to up-close violence, so he's distracted. It's a 5 plus 5?
Yeah.
That's a 10.
For a 10, yeah, you're pretty distracted. You would see an individual get hit by a javelin and go down, and immediately Specialist Zenk runs to him, places a foot on his chest and yanks the javelin out and immediately drops and places his hands over the wound that's spurting.
Son of a bitch, get back up, you dumb idiot. Pump some healing.
Pump some healing into him. Go ahead and roll 2d8 for me.
7, 11. 7-11, baby.
Plus 4 would be 15 points of healing. Gets back up. He spots you kind of there, frozen a little bit.
Keep moving, kid.
As you run in further in through Kuin into the jungle there, you see that there are roads that kind of wind out from Kuin. As you're running in, you would see two figures sprinting your way. You see what appears to be a Furbolg woman and a Dragonborn man running in. You can see the Furbolg woman has something glowing in her hand. She kind of raises it over her head to throw it. What do you want to do?
So Kalen is going to kind of see that, and he's going to take his sword and jab it into the ground, get down on one knee, pull his bow out, and he's going to take a shot at the Furbolg with the...
Furbolg woman, yeah.
With the
red
bauble.
Little red bauble. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead and give me 2 attack rolls.
It's 11 plus 8.
11 plus 8.
19.
Shit.
And a 19 plus 8, which is whatever that is.
Both of those hit. Go ahead and give me
shit.
2d8 plus 6, or 1d8 plus 3 for each hit.
8 plus 6.
Yeah.
14
points of damage. If you know the common stat block, you know that that's enough, and you 2 arrows, chest and neck. She drops.
That's exactly where I was going to say too. If you asked me, I was like chest and neck.
Chest and neck. She drops to the ground. The bauble kind of rolls in the mud there. The Dragonborn man kind of screams and drops to his knees and looks up at you and immediately starts running at you with claws drawn. He's going to use his movement to get to you, but that's all he can do. What do you want to do?
So he's right in
he's
melee range?
Like in melee range now. He's run straight up to you.
Yeah, so Kalen's going to drop the bow and kind of pull his sword out from the ground.
Yeah.
And as it's the Dragonborn is running towards him, he's just going to kind of like step forward with the sword and just kind of try and pierce it through his stomach.
Yeah, give me 2 attack rolls. 13 plus 8.
13 plus 8 is what, 21? And then 7 plus 8 is 15.
15 won't quite hit, but the 21 will. If you want to go ahead and give me a d6 plus 3. Oh, sorry, you got a longsword.
Yeah.
So it'd be a d8. Oh, two-handed, though.
Yeah, because he was...
So that'd be a d10.
D10.
Yeah. Plus 3. That's a d12 that you've just rolled.
That is a d12.
That's your d10 there. You like the stone dice.
I do like the stone dice. I like the way they feel in my hands.
Yeah. 3 plus
7. Oh, plus 3, 6.
6 points of damage as you pierce him.
Can I action surge?
Absolutely. Action surge for me.
That's just 1 attack.
2.
2 attacks.
Yeah, you redo both.
Shit.
Attacks, yeah. Jeez.
Another 13.
Plus 8.
Plus 8.
Plus 6, sorry.
Or 6.
Yep. And an 18. Both of those are going to hit. If you want to give me, what do you describe?
So the first attack of the lunging through his stomach, he'll kind of just lunge through his stomach and he'll kind of fall over him, over the dragon board on top of him.
Yeah.
And in this kind of messy, it's not cool at all. It's messy and sort of loose and clumsy. He falls on top of him. He pulls the sword out and he places his hand over like the dragonborn's like muzzle and kind of brings his sword up and just stabs 2 more times into like his chest.
Yeah, go ahead and give me give me a d8 and a d10 damage.
10 and a d.
And this will be plus 6. So 9 and 11. Okay. You and he drops to the ground there. As he drops to the ground there, the medic, Shank, would come running up to you instinctively and immediately start searching you for wounds as he runs past. Finding none, he looks at you.
Kind of takes a look over at Kaelin. Kind of, not too bad, kid. Keep it up and don't fucking die. And he'll kind of he'll wipe kind of some blood off of Kaelin's face that's been splattered, and it doesn't really clear the blood. It just kind of smears it. So now it's just kind of a hand smear of blood.
Excellent.
And he'll that's just kind of him getting a sense of, oh, it's not his blood. He's cool. And then he'll kind of burly on over to the next screaming Severian. And Kaelin kind of on the floor on top of this dead, bloody dragonborn. He kind of uses his sword to pick himself back up, kind of pants for a bit, adjusts his helmet, looks down at the dragonboard and the furbolg, picks up his bow, places it over his back, and kind of looks around to get a sense of where to go next. All while thinking of... He's not even thinking about it anymore. He's kind of numb to it. Maybe it's like the shock of like just having killed 2 people. It hasn't really washed over him yet. He's just kind of in the adrenaline pumping of this fight. And I'll kind of take a look around to see where either the medic has gone or the captain Felmore.
As you take a look around, you would see the Severians are winning well and truly. There are Vidalkans being slaughtered. There are Furbolg being slaughtered. You would pan around. You would focus in on the 2 people you've just killed, and we would zoom in on the red bauble on the ground, just kind of sinking a little bit into the mud as footsteps run past it. And as we zoom into the bauble, we zoom out on the red of a fire that's just burning, a small campfire, as we cut in a day or 2. It is early evening, 2 days later. That blood on your face has long since dried and been able to be scraped off, but there's still remnants of it, having not been able to wash. Captain Felnor regrouped with you all and managed to bring you all along these Bochtian roads to a section that you're able to kind of camp out and keep an eye out for the Bochtian forces. After the slaughter of Kuin, or the liberation of Kuin, rather, you were able to procure a few trinkets, bits and pieces. And as you settle down for a rest, the captain kind of comes over to you. As everything goes calm, as the medic is there, merry, of all things, the rest of your troop relatively together, having only lost 1 or 2 men or women. The captain kind of nods, sits next to you, hands you a little cup of broth, and says, "You're doing well."
Am I?
Yeah, you haven't turned into a quivering mess, and Zank has told me that you didn't really need any healing. Training's obviously done you well. You want to keep that in mind when we encounter the Githyanki from the north.
Right. Just remember my training.
Remember your training.
Why was it so easy?
It wasn't. Doesn't take a toll, and gestures to the people in numbers. Taps his head, but it takes a toll here. We're doing what we're told. We're doing what's necessary. But I hope you go home knowing that you don't believe everything the authorities tell you. We're not here to save Severe. We're here to take over Bocht.
They don't seem savage. When I killed that woman, her friend, he cried out as if they were friends. Animals don't have a concept of that. No.
You're told what you need to know in order to get you here. These aren't savages, they're people, but they're people that are in the way of Savir's progression.
Right.
It is a horrible job, and I understand what you're feeling.
But it's necessary.
I don't know if it's necessary, but it's what we've been told to do, so it's what we'll do.
I think it's necessary.
Good.
I think I have to think that.
You think whatever you need to get you through. Kind of places a hand on your shoulder. It's gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. And we're gonna get you back home. As he says home, something pulls from the mist there and wrenches Captain Felnor into a tree, and you watch him. You hear the cracking of ribs. He coughs out blood as the medic immediately stands and shouts out that you're about to be engaged.
Oh shit! Ambush!
As that happens, we see everything moving in fast motion behind a slow-mo Kaelin. The roads begin to wave and move, the cobbled stone itself shifting. You would see it tearing into people as it moves, like meteors ripping through them. You see people losing arms and limbs. You see one particular chunk of rock slam straight into the chest of the medic and tear through the back of him. As that happens, he looks down with a sense of, how the fuck do I heal that?
Falls to his knees.
Falls to his knees.
He'll actually place a hand on himself and try and...
As he places a hand on himself, you watch as the mound of earth behind him kind of raises up over and smothers him. As this happens, you get up, you dart across to the tree where Captain Felnor is. Captain Felnor is...
Pull out a sword.
Pull out your sword. Yeah, Captain Felnor is there. He's got that like a panicked breath.
Kind of wrapped around the tree through like
the
kind of
vines have pulled him, and you can see they've completely crushed him from the waist up to probably nipple height.
Kaelin's gonna be trying to cut through the vines.
As you cut through the vines, he falls to his knees, and he looks up at you, still calm, but he looks up at you and he says, "You gotta get out of here. We made a mistake. Get out of here."
What?
Get out of here. And the tree behind him just grabs him and tears him as blood sprays over you. You spin around. You would see Lieutenant Richter standing, and as he glances around that strange figure, you watch as he immediately pulls the wrap off his head, and you see elven ears poking up from underneath, a nice shock of white hair. He immediately takes his cloak, looks at you with a look of regret, swoops his cloak around, and dimension doors the fuck out of there. As he disappears and dimension doors out of there are people screaming. There is blood spraying everywhere. You watch as blood starts to seep into the ground. There's no Bochtians there. It is the earth. It is the island itself fighting back as grey silver mist starts to rise. You would see that this mound of earth is slowly consuming scores and scores of soldiers as blood seeps out from it.
Yeah, Kaelin is like in like the chaos. He's trying to like make his way through and avoid anything that's it's immediately reaching out and trying to like help guys up to his feet.
Duck under a vine. As the vine kind of swings over you, you pull one guy to his feet. As you pull him to his feet, a bit of the road kind of clips him and takes off the bottom half of his body, so you're just holding the top half.
Like the scene from Battle of the Bastards in Game of Thrones. It's a tracking shot of Jon Snow. He's like grabbing people and people are getting arrows.
Yeah. As this is happening, panic. As you're panicking, you would watch as this mound of earth and tree comes towards you. You hear a horrible, horrible sucking noise. You hear the crunching, the dropping of bodies around you. What is going through Kaelin's head in the last few moments of his life, of his very, very short life?
Yeah, Kaelin is looking around at these just mangled, half-buried crushed corpses. Some of them who are probably wounded, yelling out, and he's kind of like he's just panting, looking around and thinking like. It's weird. He thinks he wants to be home. He kind of thinks of his family. He thinks of his father and mother's last kind of moments with him. He thinks of Davy and how they were lifelong friends and how, this journey to adventure, this call to something greater kind of maybe just tore them apart from one another. And he kind of is thinking about the simplicity that he had and how it's no longer, his life is no longer that anymore. And he thinks about why he joined up in this and just the experience over the past day or so. And in a way thinks that it's still necessary for Safirith to take Bocht. And he's scared. He starts to cry a bit, and he just has his sword drawn out, just kind of waiting for something to lash out at him, not sure where to run.
As he has these thoughts, looking up at the enormous mound, we see him looking up, and as this mound comes towards him, something from the side grabs him, and everything goes black. As we wipe across there, we hear footsteps. Sharp heels on polished stone floor in a rush, moving quickly. Thank you. As the footsteps move quickly, doors to an enormous throne room swing open. As they swing open at the far end, sitting on a beautiful throne, is a very, very young woman with pale skin, beautiful, beautiful lips, almost auburn eyes, a brown that verges on an orange or a red. She has this beautiful black hair that seems to have streaks of red or orange coming through it. As Queen Banrian sits there, a messenger steps up. The forces in Bocht have fallen. We've lost everyone, ma'am. We've lost everyone. The Queen looks up, nonplussed, cocks an eyebrow, and just goes, And that's where we'll leave our prequel episode.
Boom, 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 boom. First description of Queen Banrian. Woo!
Thank you very much for listening. We'll have more of this soon.